In today's episode, Chef Randy will show us how to make a delicious lamb shoulder sous vide using Prairie Street Prime's USDA lamb shoulder and these fresh ingredients.
It is unbelievably tender. It's seriously delicious. Hey everybody, I'm Chef Randy. Welcome to Prairie Street Prime Culinary Kitchen. Prairie Street Prime is your premium kosher meat experience. So today we're going to be talking about lamb shoulder. So what we have here is we have a boneless shoulder of lamb, and we've rolled it up and we've put it in this net. And the reason we do that is it kind of puts everything together, and then it holds it so when we roast it, it just roasts uniformly and roasts together. Today, I know we were talking about roasting, but we're going to do something that's really cool. We're going to do a technique that's called sous vide. So sous vide actually translates to under vacuum. And what happens is when we do this, we take this lamb shoulder, we're going to put it in a bag, season it, we're going to suck all the air out of it, and we're going to drop it into a water bath that has a immersion circulator. And what that does is that circulates the heat at a very precise temperature. Okay, so why do we want to do that? It's going to take a little bit longer to cook, but it's going to cook very gently and it's going to cook uniformly. So we're going to set our immersion circulator up to 135. We hit our button, turns on, we see the pump start to go. We know that it's heating and circulating the water around. So now we're going to do a little bit of kosher coarse salt on the lamb, a little bit of black pepper. Now I'm just going to roll it around on the board. Get it on the edges, get it on the ends. Another thing that we like to do with sous vide is we can use a lot less spices because everything inside is going to stay inside. So let's get this in this bag here. We're going to slide this right in. I have the edges folded over. Some things we want to add to this. I'm just going to do a touch of olive oil, a few slices of garlic, couple sprigs of fresh thyme. These I'll just slide in the side. And a couple sprigs of fresh rosemary. Now if I was going to do this for a roast or a braise, I'd probably use 3 times as many herbs. But once we close this up, it's just that all the flavor is going to stay right inside. So now that we have that, we want to make sure that the seal here on the end of the bag is clean. You set it into this little tray. And this is where it's going to seal right here, so we want that to have no creases in it. Close this down until it clicks. Then we hit vacuum and seal. You see immediately it starts to suck all the air out of it. And that noise that you hear is it's starting to pull the vacuum. And once it gets all the air out of it, it will stop and then it will seal. All right, so it's done sealing. We'll pop the sides, pull this up. And you can see that this is beautifully sealed. There's no air pockets inside of it. And this is what we're going to do. We're going to drop it into the water bath. And it goes down in. Put the lid on. Another thing I like to notice is that it sinks down to the bottom. And the reason it sinks is because there's no air pockets in it. If that didn't have a good tight seal with no air in it, it would start to float. So we've got that perfect. We have the water floating around and it's going to cook gently. Probably take a little over 3 hours. So we are going to come back to this in a few hours. Okay, so now it's time to make our Israeli couscous salad. And we're going to do something probably a little different than you've seen before. We have some carrot juice boiling on the stove. And we're going to cook the couscous in the carrot juice. So Israeli's couscous is actually pasta, and regular couscous is really small. The Israeli stuff is actually it's big. There's like these little pearls. So these just go in. And I'm going to put a little bit of kosher coarse salt into it. The carrot juice will foam up every now and then. You could do this with beet juice. You could do this with stock. And basically what I need to do is I need to find the right temperature. It's not a rolling boil, but just a nice high simmer. So the other part of the salad we're going to do is we're going to put in some fresh scallions. I'm just going to go right along, cutting them on a little bit of a bias. So I go right through. Then I have some dried apricots. These are gonna give a nice texture and a nice sweetness. So these I'm just gonna cut just into little strips. This salad is great. Make this the day before. You could make it the night of. You can eat it room temp. You can eat it cold. It's a wonderful way to have a nice salad. Okay, then we have some dried cranberries. And then we have some toasted pistachios. I am gonna take these and just kind of run my knife through it just quickly. Not looking to chop them too much. So I like the texture of the toasted pistachios. And the couscous is gonna take a lot less than regular pasta because it is small. Probably take 2 or 3 minutes. Just mix this up. I mean, this is beautiful already, just like that. Okay. Now we've got this boiling away. It smells amazing. Carrots, when it cooks like this, smells unbelievable, and that flavor is gonna be right in the couscous. So I can start to build my dressing right in this pan right here. So I have a little bit of olive oil, and then we're gonna do some fresh lemon zest. I love to do the zest, and I love to do it right into the bowl because all those, you see that little spray when I'm doing this, that's the oil, the essential oils, and that's really a ton of flavor going right in there. If I were to do it on the board and then scrape it up, all my oils are on the board. I want the oils in my salad. And I'm gonna take just the end off, squeeze a little bit of lemon, and we're gonna stir up our salad. This is gonna have great texture. And our couscous is ready. And all we need to do, we just need to strain this out. You can see how beautiful that looks already. Really has an amazing color. And then this just goes in warm. Then having the olive oil, the vinaigrette, and the lemon, it's gonna kind of coat all the pearls of the couscous. So it's gonna make a beautiful dressing. You see that it's starting to get a little tight, which this is a little bit. I'm gonna add a little bit of more olive oil. Cooking isn't always necessarily exact. I love to cook by feel, by sight, by sound. So I will season this a little bit. A little bit of kosher coarse salt. A little bit of black pepper. Okay, so we got our salad is done. And now all we have to do is go check on our lamb. And as soon as our lamb's done, we're gonna sear it. And then we can slice and plate. And then we'll have the salad and the lamb. And I cannot wait to taste this. Okay, everybody, it's been about 3.5 hours. We've been cooking our lamb shoulder in the sous vide pot here. So we're gonna take the top off. I'm gonna grab this. You can see that it's been cooking. It's already got some of this juice. We're gonna open this up. It already smells amazing. You can smell the herbs, the garlic, and don't forget we have to take this net off because we had this tied. So it's crazy the way this looks, right? It's because it's like medium rare, medium on the outside all the way in. All right. Once we get that cut like that, we just pull the net off. I do want to show you one thing. I'm going to take the temperature so that you can see that we cooked this to 135, and it is indeed 135. All right, so let's get our thermometer, and we'll show that it's 134, so it's perfect. All right, so we have our skillet, because we need to put a little crust on there because crust equals flavor. So we get a little bit of olive oil in the pan, and what I'll do is if this opens up a little bit, that's fine. I may even help this. Cut this little piece right here. I'm going to start searing this side down. And that already sounds incredible. I'll put a little bit of oil on the top. And this I'm going to crank up. When we sear, we want high heat. And the reason we dried it is because if you don't dry the outside of it, it's more going to steam. Once it hits the pan, it's going to steam. Dry food will caramelize. Wet food will steam. All right, so this is going here. You can hear it searing, you can smell it, a little bit of oil. Oil helps the process, oil helps the meat start to caramelize. So we see all that caramelization happening there. You can flip this over. And because this is a shoulder roast, you see there's a lot of different muscles in here, but each muscle is gonna have a slightly different texture. But because we cooked it in the sous vide bath, it's gonna be extremely tender because everything starts to cook and break down, and this is a wonderful way to cook. So now I can start to baste the inside of this a little bit more, which is something that I do a lot. If I'm searing, I'm basting, and this will be great. Once we flip this over, it's gonna look amazing. So that's what we're looking for. We've got a nice crust on the top. We've got a nice crust on the bottom, which is actually the inside. So a roast like this, if it had a bone in it, we wouldn't get the caramelization all the way around. That's why I like doing this without a bone. With the net, we cooked it slowly, then we opened it up, and now we're searing it because we're getting all that caramelization on all the different sides. All right. Then I'm just gonna start slicing. And the reason I don't need to let this rest, if you notice that, is because when you're cooking sous vide, we're cooking at 135 degrees, so it's not any hotter than that. The reason we let things rest is because we're cooking something typically at 400 degrees and there's a lot of heat going on. So this is just pushing, that's pushing all the heat. But this, the way we have it, it's perfect medium rare to medium. And if you see, there's nothing, none of the juices are running out because all the juices are inside. You can see how tender this looks. It's perfectly cooked. All right, so we're gonna put these slices on our plate. Now we've got some Israeli couscous. We cooked it in carrot juice. We have some pistachios, scallions. We have some dried apricots, dried cranberries, and a little bit of lemon, a little bit of olive oil. And to finish this, I always like to finish sliced meats, a little bit of olive oil, and we'll do a little bit of salt. Something that we do in the restaurants is when we slice meat, we always finish it with a little bit of crunchy salt, a little bit of pepper. All right, so there we have it. We've got our Prairie Street Prime kosher lamb shoulder roast that we cook sous vide with fresh thyme, fresh rosemary and garlic, seared, sliced with an Israeli couscous salad with dried fruits and fresh herbs. All right, so it's time to taste this. I've been searing it, cooking it for hours, and I can't wait anymore, so I'm just gonna dive in. And it is unbelievably tender. And I'm gonna get some of this couscous salad. Delicious. I mean, it's seriously delicious. It is so tender. The way we cooked it, a lamb shoulder roast is just, when you do it like this, it's so tender. It's seared, it's herbaceous, you get all the flavors of the lamb. The salad works great together.
Coming up next on the Prairie Street Prime Culinary Kitchen channel, you'll learn how to make delicious kosher spiced brisket tacos.
Ooh, look at all that juice. Yum. That is insane. It's probably all over my face.
I appreciate you guys watching this video. All this meat that we do in our recipes in our YouTube channel comes from prairiestreetprime.com. Prairie Street Prime is your premium kosher meat experience. Please subscribe, like, hit that notification bell, and we will see you soon.